Okay. So again, a good evening. Today we're going to have second part of our lecture for ionospheric physics. So this is our special topics class for this semester, first semester of academic year 2023-2024. Okay. So let's have a brief recap of what we discussed last time. So basically, we discussed two things. No, number one is we review the concept of the Earth's magnetic field. Okay, specifically the magnetic field that is close to the ground. So we're not going to think about for now the influences of um, um, extraterrestrial influences like the solar wind or whatever influence that might affect the morphology of the magnetic field because at the ionospheric levels and under quiet conditions, under normal conditions, this the behavior of the Earth's magnetic field can be approximated by a tilted dipole, and this is the equation of the magnetic vector potential phi m in spherical coordinate system. Okay, so r, theta, and phi. Re is the radius of the Earth. R prime is the distance from the center of the Earth to a certain point, whatever that point around the Earth is. Um, N and M are the orders of your Legendre polynomial, Pn, as a function of cosine theta prime. G and H are fitting coefficients, and these fitting coefficients are based from ground-based and satellite magnetometer measurements. And by having those ground-based and satellite magnetometer measurements on the ground, either on the ground on in orbit, this magnetic vector potential is fitted with certain coefficient, usually at the order of more than 10, no? More than n. Yung n natin is more than 10. And I already introduced to you the concept of the Legendre polynomial. And those and the modeling that was used to describe this magnetic vector potential um, is provided by the International Geomagnetic Reference Field, which is the IGRF. Currently, we are in the 13th generation of the IGRF. And basically, the IGRF provides us these components of the magnetic field or these parameters that is related to the magnetic field. The total field, the horizontal component, which is a function of both northward and south and eastward component of the magnetic field. Of course, it can provide us the vertical component, which is related to the inclination or the dip latitude of the magnetic field, as well as declination d. Okay, wherein the declination tells us how far is the direction of your h, okay, relative to the true direction of the geographic north, okay, which is related to um, the axis of rotation of the Earth. Okay, so this is the first part of our lesson last time. Okay, and then um, we also talked about yung ating ionosphere. Basically, we reintroduced the ionosphere, and we said that the ionosphere is highly conductive because there are free electrons and free ions that are moving through the ionosphere. But of course, this provides this conductivity of the ionosphere is the one that provides the current flow. However, while we have free ions and free electrons, they are still governed by the morphology of the magnetic field of the Earth, which is a very strong magnetic field, especially close to the ground. Okay, and aside from that, this plasma, these ions and electrons, also influenced by the neutral through collisional processes. So these three properties or characteristic of the ionosphere is provides us a complicated ionospheric current system. So if there are changes in the conductivity, in the magnetic field, or even with the neutral environment where the ionosphere is currently in, okay, specifically the thermosphere, if there are changes in the thermosphere, the the behavior of the ionosphere in the form of your current systems are affected. But basically, this processes is basically governed by the General's Ohm's law, okay, which tells us that the conductivity dictates the amount of current that flows through the ionosphere, and the driver of that current is electro and magnetic in nature, as well as V, which is related to the motion of your neutral. Okay, and the conductivity is provided by the conductivity tensor, which is composed of three components. Okay, you have your parallel conductivity, you have your, which is called the specific conductivity. This conductivity is the conductivity that is parallel to magnetic field. And then you have your Peterson conductivity. The Peterson conductivity is the conductivity perpendicular to the magnetic field, but parallel to the electric field. And then lastly, the Hall conductivity, which is related to the conductivity that is perpendicular to both magnetic and electric field lines. So this figure on your right is your typical mid-latitude conductivity profiles, Peterson conductivity, Hall conductivity, and specific conductivity. So as you will notice, the Hall and Peterson conductivity is more dominant in the lower altitude, specifically in the E region, and that is what we're going to talk about later. Okay, so these three conductivities is basically a combination of the motion of your electrical species, your ions and your electrons, together with collisions or collisional terms with your neutrals. Okay, so again, as I mentioned, the conductivity of your ionosphere would depend on the height, on the altitude of your the altitude. Okay, so the specific conductivity again is the conductivity, or it provides us a current that is flowing through the magnetic field lines. It is important in the F region. Okay, one application of that is this conductivity or current facilitates the field aligned currents. And these field aligned currents are the currents that connects the ionosphere with the magnetosphere. Okay, so basically yung field aligned currents natin, those are the currents that provide us the aurora. Okay, Peterson conductivity is perpendicular to magnetic field but aligned or parallel to the electric field. So it is important in the E region and the D region, wherein the Peterson conductivity is dominant. Okay. Um, for the Hall conductivity, it's perpendicular to both magnetic field and electric field, and it is dominant in the E region through the E region dynamo, E layer dynamo, as well as to some extent the F region dynamo. Okay. So these are some examples or illustrations of this conductivity that are present in the ionosphere. Okay, so for example, here we have your field aligned currents, we have your aurora electrojet, but today we're going to focus on the mid latitude currents that is driven by the solar heating, as well as the equatorial electrojet. So these two are actually again driven by your solar heating, by your solar radiation. Okay. Okay. Now, so let's focus on this. Wait, saan na? Okay. So these solar-driven currents, okay, that is driven by your solar heating is called the solar quiet current system. Okay. So uh, SQ for short. So when you say SQ, the solar quiet current system. So it's a quiet time diurnal variation that is solar driven. So this is an average behavior. It is found in the ionosphere levels. It is described by two cells that circulate around the focal point. So this is your northern and southern focal points. Okay, about 30 degrees. okay, of the magnetic equator. Okay. Now, the direction of this northern and southern cells is something like this, no? So in the northern cell, the current system is rotating from dusk, from dawn to dusk. So this is dawn. The x-axis here is local time. So this is 6 a.m. and this is 6 p.m. This is 12 noon. Okay. So the direction of the current is like this. So on the northern, it basically rotates counterclockwise, and in the south, it's clockwise. Okay, so this current system is primarily attributed to the E region dynamo. Okay, that is created by the Hall currents in the ionosphere. Okay, so it's both perpendicular to the magnetic field as well as to the electric field. Okay, and this is actually confirmed by rocket measurements as early as 1960s. Okay, so basically this is the no, the overall view or the processes that dictates or that drives the SQ current system. Okay, so it starts with your neutral wind. So the neutral wind in the thermosphere, or sometimes we call this the thermospheric neutral wind or the thermospheric winds. Okay, it drives the ions by collisions and electrons by transient electric field. So we can look at the details here in the QR code. So you can screenshot this page and you can look at this QR code to see the detailed explanation of this. Okay, so I'm not going to the detailed physics of this, but I want to describe generally what happens. No, so the neutral wind basically drags the ions and electrons, and it creates plasma flow within the dynamo region, and that neutral wind is the one that provides the plasma flow, and that plasma flow creates an electric field by the General's Ohm's law. Okay, and that electric field and any magnetic perturbation will create an electric current. Okay, and then that magnetic perturbation can also provide plasma flow outside of the dynamo region, which we're not going to discuss today. Okay, through the magnetohydrodynamic waves that is propagating through the field lines. Okay, so basically this is it. No, ito yung mga components. Okay, but we're not going to deal or dwell too much about this. Okay, but I want you to focus on the observations. Okay, so these are some observations by several papers. Okay, so as mentioned here, in the northern and southern hemisphere of the magnetic equator, you have two cells. Okay, so the red cell basically tells us there's a positive current. Okay, so that the blue one is negative current. We say negative current, the direction of the direction of the current is opposite of the red. Okay, and those directions are arbitrarily assigned. Okay, so as you will notice here that the region where your SQ current is present depends on the time. Okay, so basically this figure tells us, okay, for 12 UTC, meaning at the zero longitude, it's 12 noon. So you will see that, and this is the part where the Earth is facing the sun. So that's where we can observe the SQ current. Okay. Then as you move along at different latitude, at different times of the day, so let's say at 8 UT, okay, at 8 UT, the XU current is like this. At 4 UT, the SQ current is like this, etc., etc. Okay, so as you will notice here, that the region where the northern and southern parts of the SQ current also follows the morphology of the magnetic field. Okay, wherein the magnetic equator is along this line. Okay, so again, there's a diurnal variation because it's solar driven. Okay, aside from that, because it's solar driven, the current system is also a function of solar activity. Okay, so these two figures on your left is the SQ current at low solar activity. The F10.7 solar radio flux for this figure is 72 SFU, solar flux units. And on the right, you have your high solar activity. So the F10.7 is about 172 solar flux units. So as you will notice here, that the order of magnitude, the amount of current or the magnitude of the current, this is in amperes, is directly related or is follows the amounts of solar activity that the sun provides. Okay, so aside from the solar activity, it is also driven by your neutral wind. Okay, so this is the neutral wind pattern at 110 kilometers. This is at the E region. So there are semi-diurnal variations in the thermospheric wind. You can if you want to know more about the thermospheric wind, please let me know so that I can give you additional materials for that. Okay, so this is the thermospheric wind, and this thermospheric wind drives your SQ current. As I mentioned, this is the SQ current magnitude intensity. It varies directly, or sorry, varies with solar activity. So this graph is for low solar activity. This is for um, medium solar activity. F10.7 is 150 SFU, and this is at 220 at high solar activity. Also, this figure tells us that there is a month-to-month variation. So there's a seasonal variation. Okay, so there's a seasonal variation of the SU currents. Okay, so there's a there is a biannual variation. Tama ba ba yan? Yeah, something like that, no? So during the equinox seasons, the SQ current is high, and um in the winter and summer solstice, the SQ current is relatively low. Okay, so this is month. Okay, so there's a variation in solar activity, there's also variation in season, and there's also variation in region. Okay, so in terms of region, this is the variation. So this is an actual measurement. So this figure shows a series or a network of magnetometers. So these magnetometers are located at these points. Okay, so there are 3 magnetometers in the Philippines based on this figure, and this runs from Russia all the way to New Zealand. Okay, so this is at about 130 east longitude uh, uh, chain of magnetometers. So these magnetometers are ground-based magnetometers. And on your on your right, are the variations, a 24-hour variation, mean variation of your north, east, and vertical component of the magnetic field. Okay, so this variation is obtained from May to August from 1996 to 2007. So May to August tells us that this is during summer solstice. Okay, and the components are based on high solar activity with low geomagnetic activity. Okay, this is high solar activity. This is low geomagnetic activity. So that we are sure that the measurements that we have are under normal conditions. So there is no influences by the interplanetary magnetic field or the solar wind. So there are several things that we can look at here. Number one is the pattern in the north. Okay, in the north are basically symmetric about the magnetic equator, where the field is horizontal. Okay, so symmetric siya. And then the eastward and vertical components reverse at the magnetic equator. Saan ba yung magnetic equator? This one. This is the magnetic equator. Okay, so that's Muntinlupa. So this is Cebu and Davao. So this one, Cebu and Davao. This is more or less located at the magnetic equator. Okay, so above the magnetic equator, the east and Z components are like this. And then when you go to the other side, to the southern part, south of the deep equator, the pattern is reversed. Okay. Also, if you're going to, again, if you're going to look at the pattern or the latitudinal distribution of the SQ, there is an amplification. Okay, so that means it is amplified near the magnetic equator, especially the northern component, wherein, of course, the northern component is the one that dominates the components, no? Kasi, di ba, in the deep equator, okay, the magnetic field is mostly horizontal. Okay, and the declination, especially in the Philippines, is very low. Okay, so there's a small east component, and then there's a little bit of Z component. Okay, but most of the component is northern, is the north direction, and there's an apparent amplification in this component. Okay, so this apparent amplification is actually the one that is responsible for a strong zonal current. We say zonal current that is in along the latitude, no? Sorry, along the longitude direction. Okay, this is along the longitude direction. So, and we call that the equatorial electric jet. Okay, so this is the equatorial electric jet, and the Philippines is actually experiencing that. Okay, nakaka-experience tayo ng equatorial electric jet in the ionospheric levels. So there's a strong electric current in the ionosphere, and we call that the equatorial electric jet. So you can think of it as yung tinatawag nating intertropical convergence zone. Kasi di ba yung intertropical convergence zone, basically, uh, clouds are forming along the tropics because the trade winds from the northern hemisphere and from the southern hemisphere meet there. Okay, so pag nagsalubong yung dalawang hangin na yon, there is a clouds will form. Okay, so parang ganun yung equator electric jet. But this time, this is a meeting, okay, or convergence of sorts between the northern and the southern cells of your SQ current. Okay, however, what is observed is that the sum of the northern and southern components or southern cells, okay, northern and southern cells along the geomagnetic equator, okay, is still smaller than the actual equatorial electric jet. Okay. So again, the EEJ is actually stronger than the sum of the northern and southern currents at that region. And the uh, and the and the major driver of that is what we call the cowling effect, which I'm going to discuss a little bit later. Okay, so that's cowling effect. So that means the EEJ is more than the sum again of the northern and southern cells of the SQ current. And why is that? Okay, so let me demonstrate that to you. Okay, now, so imagine this is the Earth in the equatorial plane. Okay, so this is the sun. So this side is the sunlit Earth. This side is the night side of the Earth. Okay, so the direction of the magnetic field is like this. So that means this is pointing upward. So this is pointing northward. So what we're looking at is that as if we are in the North Pole. Okay, this is the equator, and on the back side is the south. So this is north. So this is the south, and so this is will now be east, and this is west. So because of solar heating, okay, there is an electric field that is created eastward. Okay, so the daytime eastward electric field is from dawn to dusk, and there's a westward electric field in the nighttime because it's pointing again from dawn to dusk because of the accumulation of negative charges in the sunset terminator, And in the sunrise terminator, merong positive. So the electric field is from positive to negative. Okay, so basically what we have to realize here is that there is a eastward electric field on the day side. Okay, and at the same time, at the equator, we have a northward magnetic field. So to illustrate why the equatorial electric jet is greater than the sum of the northern and southern cells of your SQ current is this. So imagine, so we are going to use a slab geometry. So this is an idealized slab geometry wherein, let's say around the E region, so about 90 kilometers to about 150 kilometers. So we already know that the conductivity, the Hall and the Peterson conductivity is 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 dominated or dominates this region, the E region. And then the conductivity below and above, okay, is assumed to be much lower than this one, than this region. Okay? So that's the first that's the first setup. Okay? So again, I mentioned that there's an eastward electric field. Okay, and we have a northward electric field that is pointing into the page. Okay, opposite of that, opposite of this now. Okay, so we're looking at the south part. Nasa south tayo ng equator, so the magnetic field is pointing northward. So this is into the page. Again, eastward is along this page, and it is to the right, and then northward is into the page. Okay, so the eastward, the electric field is perpendicular to the magnetic field of the Earth. So this E1 is the eastward zonal electric field in the daytime. Okay? So we know for a fact that here we have both Hall current and Peterson current. So for the Hall current, again, the Hall current is perpendicular to the electric field and the magnetic field. So that means the Hall current, due to the eastward electric field, let's start with the Peterson na muna. Okay, Peterson current, again, sorry about that. So the Peterson current is the current perpendicular to the magnetic field but parallel to the electric field. Okay, so the Peterson currents due to the eastward electric field is also directed eastward, and that's equal to sigma P E1. The whole current is now therefore perpendicular to both electric field, eastward electric field, and northward electric field. Okay, it's vertically downward to the ground. It's pointing to the ground. The Peterson current is pointing east. Okay, because again, we assume that there's low conductivity in the above 150 kilometers and below the E region. Okay, so therefore, this electric field, okay, will now cause a collection of negative charges above and positive charges below because of this current. Okay? So magkakaroon ka ngayon ng polarization. And that polarization, okay, produces an electric field. So this is a polarization electric field. Let's call that E2. Okay, so the polarization electric field is pointing from plus to minus. Okay, because again, meron kang Hall and Peterson conductivity here. So therefore, this polarization electric field that is caused by the Hall current, that is caused by the eastward electric field, will now produce its own current. So merong Hall current to, meron tong Peterson currents, okay, due to the polarization electric field. Okay, because there is no current that flows in this direction. Walang vertical current kasi nga hindi the current will not pass through this boundary. Okay, so therefore, the whole current here must be equal to the Peterson current here. So sigma HE1 will now be equal to sigma PE2. Okay? Which can which tells us that the polarization electric field is now equal to sigma H over sigma P times the eastward electric field. Okay? Because the Hall conductivity is greater than the Peterson conductivity, therefore, the polarization electric field is greater than the eastward electric field. Okay? Now, aside from the Peterson current provided due to the polarization electric field, this also creates a Hall current perpendicular to E2 or to the polarization electric field and the northward magnetic field. So therefore, the Hall current due to the polarization electric field is also directed eastward. Okay, so we now have two eastward electric fields. The Peterson current due to the eastward electric field and the Hall current due to the polarization electric field. So the combination of those two currents is the total eastward or zonal current. We call that the current of the electrojet, of the equatorial electrojet. So sigma PE1 again is the Peterson current due to the eastward electric field. Sigma HE2 is the Hall current due to the polarization electric field. So doing some simple algebra, we can come up with this equation. The total current along the eastward direction, that's the current of the equatorial electrojet, this is equal to sigma P plus sigma H squared over sigma P times E1. And this is much greater than the Hall conductivity, the Peterson conductivity that is provided by the eastward electric field. Okay, so we can call this term sigma C, wherein sigma C is sigma P plus sigma squared H divided by sigma P, and we call this the Cowling conductivity. Okay, so instead of having a combination of sigma P and sigma H only, okay, so meron kang, instead of having a algebraic sum of sigma P and sigma H, we have an algebraic sum like this. Okay, so this is the one that is responsible for the increased or the amplification of the current along the magnetic equator. So we call that the Cowling effect. Okay, so the Cowling effect can still be observed in other latitude, but it is mostly effective in the magnetic equator. Okay, so as you will notice here, this is the eastward electric field. This is the equatorial electrojet. So as you will notice here that if the eastward electric field increases, therefore the current of the equatorial electrojet also increases. Okay, so this is the equatorial electrojet. Questions po before we continue? You want to repeat?
Hmm. Yes, so far, no questions for me.
Okay tayo? Shall we continue?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Sige po,
Okay.
sir.
Sige. So let's continue. So the focus, actually may focus for this class is the equatorial electrojet because it's very important sa ionospheric physics of the equator where the Philippines is located. Okay? Okay, so let's continue. So let's have some observations. Okay? So imagine this, no? So if the equator electrojet, so let's say it's a stream, okay, it's a stream of currents, okay, so it can actually make an analog, no? For example, if you have a current carrying wire, a straight wire, no? that straight wire that carries a current will produce a magnetic field that is circling around it. Okay, this is basic physics, no? So basic physics tells us that the magnetic field created by this current wire, straight current wire, is directly proportional to the magnetic field, or the current is directly proportional to the magnetic field. So the higher the current, the higher the magnetic field created. Okay, again, higher the current, the higher magnetic field created. However, the farther your point is from your current, the lower the magnetic field. So the closest to it, okay, will be the most, will have the highest magnetic field. Okay. However, okay, because if the point you're looking at is in the wire, so that means R is 0. So therefore, magnetic field cannot be defined. So we can approximate that to be there's no magnetic field along the wire. Okay, that's the approximation. No? Okay, so try to think of it that way. So if we're going to apply that, so our eastward electric field, okay, so that means the eastward equatorial electric jet creates a sort of a circular magnetic field around it. Okay, so that's the magnetic field created by this current wire. So it's an electromagnet actually. Okay? So 'di ba meron if you know that if you pass a current through a wire, that wire will create its own magnetic field. So that's also the case for the equatorial electric jet. So the equatorial electric jet creates its own magnetic field, okay, which is somewhat circular like this. Okay? So if we're going to have a view like this, so let's say this is the earth, surface of the earth, this is your magnetic field lines. Okay, this magnetic field lines is the magnetic field of the Earth. So on your left is the north, and on the right is the south, and at the center, that's your magnetic equator or your 0 degree deep latitude. Okay, so the equatorial electric jet, therefore, in this view, would be pointing eastward, and that is directed into the page. So this is your eastward current. This is your eastward equatorial electric jet. So if this is your eastward equatorial electric jet, therefore, based on this right-hand rule, it will now create a magnetic field that would be something like this. Okay, so what's important here is this. Below the equatorial electric jet, specifically on the ground, the magnetic field created by the equatorial electric jet is northward. Okay, above the equatorial electric jet, it's southward along the equator. So what does it mean? It means that the magnetic field measured on the ground is actually a combination of the usual magnetic field of the Earth and the magnetic field produced by the equatorial electric jet. Okay? So imagine you have your Earth, di ba? Yung Earth natin, okay, the magnetic field of the Earth creates its own magnetic field. Okay? And the generator of that is the Earth's core, yung molten iron. That's the prevailing theory right now. That's basically constant throughout the day. Okay, that's basically constant throughout the day. However, the eastward, the equatorial electric jet is dominant during daytime than in nighttime. So that means at the equator, what we can see is there will be a diurnal variation in the magnetic field. Mataas ang magnetic field na nami-measure sa magnetic equator during daytime than in nighttime. So please take note of that. Okay? Now, before dwelling more about that, let's look at the latitudinal variation. Okay? So these two figures shows the current density, okay, and the resulting magnetic field, okay, in this region, in this altitude. So if we can measure the current along this height, okay, so we will notice that there is a strong current at the latitude, at the deep equator, okay, and there's low current on the side. So ito yung SQ current, ito yung SU current. Okay, and there's a negative current on sa off equator. So the result of this is this. So magkakaroon ka ngayon ng ganitong magnetic field created. Okay, so as I mentioned kanina, the magnetic field along the wire is about is you cannot measure it. You basically cannot measure it. So that's why if you're going to calculate or measure the magnetic field in the EEJ, you will be able to measure a low magnetic field. But on the side of the wire, you have a strong magnetic field, so you have this strong magnetic field. This background is your SQ current system. This is the magnetic field created by your SQ current system. Okay? So that means if we're going to subtract this black line with this purple line, you will now left with the EEJ magnetic field. Okay? This is along this altitude. This is in the ionospheric level. So what you will notice is, off the equator, you have high magnetic field observation, and in the deep equator, you will have lower magnetic field measurement. So this lower magnetic field is where you can actually locate your EEJ. Okay? Because remember, again, along the EEJ, you have low magnetic field, and then on the side, you will have high magnetic field. Okay? If we're going to only look at the equatorial electrojet. Okay? Of course, if you add the other current system, like the SU current system, ganito yung magiging itsura niya. Okay? So if we're going to have a, let's say, a heat map or a intensity map no, along this plane, it would look something like this. Okay, so this is the intensity of the current density as a function of altitude and latitude. So this is height, this is latitude, this is again magnetic equator. So you will notice at the E region, you will notice you can see a large charge density, and that's your EEJ. It's red because it's positive. By convention, eastward direction is positive, so that the other direction is negative, and that's your blue. Okay, so meron kang EEJ around equatorial region. Okay, and the magnetic field created by this current would produce something like this. Okay, so as I mentioned, yung EEJ has a low magnetic field measurement. So this area corresponds to this area, and then around it, you have high magnetic field above and below. Okay, directly below the EEJ, you have the strongest magnetic field measurement, and then off the equator, you have lower magnetic field because it's farther from the EEJ. Now, so because of this, we can now actually quantify your equatorial electrojet, but not directly measuring the current itself, because it's hard to do that. But instead of measuring the current that the EEJ produces, we can actually deduce the current or have an idea about the current based on the magnetic field measured. Because as I mentioned, the magnetic field is directly proportional to the current produced by the EEJ or the current of the EEJ. So what do we mean by this? So the idea is you can set up a magnetometer at the equator. Okay, you have a magnetometer at the equator, and you also have a magnetometer off equator. Okay, so because of the fact that you have, this is already a combination of the SQ current system, the magnetic field of the Earth, as well as the magnetic field created by the EEJ. Therefore, if we subtract the magnetic field measurement by a station off the equator from the station or from the magnetometer at the equator, we can now isolate the influence of the EEJ. Okay? Kasi 'di ba, at the equator, EEJ, you can measure the magnetic field due to the magnetic field measured at the equator is a combination of the magnetic field created by the EEJ, by the Earth, and by the SQ current, the sum of the SQ currents. Of the equator, what we can only measure is the influence of the magnetic field of the Earth and the SQ current. Okay? Do you get? So by subtracting these two, we can now have an estimate of the influence of the EEJ at the equator by removing the other influences. And that is what is being done by scientists to quantify EEJ. Okay, questions po?
Sir.
Yes.
Verification lang.
Yes.
Dinig ba? So if it's westward, then it would cancel out.
Which one is westward?
Yung EEJ sa upper left, it would cancel out with the magnetic field produced by the Earth, by the main field.
Not cancel out, but it will
Yeah.
counter.
Oh, okay.
It will counter the magnetic field below, but it
Sa
will add to
ground.
the magnetic field above.
Okay. So, medyo maging opposite yung heat map. Medyo. Ay,
Medyo,
tama ba?
yes. So, ang tawag
Okay.
naman doon, counter electrojet.
Yes. Okay.
Okay? Okay? So, yung red dito means you have a positive magnetic field. Sorry, this is total magnetic field pala, so walang direction dito. But you get the point, no? Other questions po? Okay, so let's move to the results. Okay? Okay. So again, the idea is you have two magnetometers. So in this example, this figure tells us that this paper, okay, from Laxar at 2024, and this figure is from Laxar 2024, and the results is from Yamazaki and Maute 2027. Okay, so what they did is they used two magnetometers, one at the off equator. So this is Alibag in India. So this is a 1 month, no? This is for the whole October of 1983. This is a magnetometer measurement for the whole of October. Okay, in this station, red station. Okay, and in the equatorial station in Tirunelveli. Okay, this is India. This is at 0.2 deep latitude. So this is the measurement. Okay, so as expected, the magnetic field at the deep equator on the ground is higher than the magnetic field at the off equator. Okay, so the range of values is at 39,000 to 40,000 nanotesla for the equatorial station, and then the off equatorial station it's only about 38,000. So lower. Okay, so if we're going to subtract this two, okay, so you have this one. Okay, so the difference will now be this one. Okay, so you will notice now there is a some sort of a minimum value, no? Okay, there's a minimum value around 1700 nanotesla or 1700 nanotesla. So that level, we call that level your baseline magnetic field. Okay, so this baseline magnetic field includes odd, all of it includes the magnetic field created by the Earth. Okay, so sometimes we can actually calculate that. Okay, you can actually estimate that if we're going to look at the values at this region. So if I'm going to zoom in, if we're going to zoom in here, this area, this area, this area, these are actually midnight. Okay, midnight values, or midnight time. Okay, midnight time yan. Okay, so the level of your midnight. Okay, so walang solar heating influence. So walang SQ current, wala ring EEJ. So basically, ang natira na lang na magnetic field influence in the nighttime, during nighttime, is yung Earth's dynamo. Okay, yung Earth's magnetic field. So we call that yung baseline magnetic field. Okay? So this is another example, no? This paper, right, Cherkos and Nigusi in 2022 actually look at the variability of the equatorial electrojet using ground-based magnetometers around the world. But I want to focus on our region, no? This region, Philippines and east of the Philippines. Okay, so what we have here is this, no? So the methodology, as I mentioned, is that the strength of the EEJ in terms of the magnetic field is basically the difference between the magnetic field, of course, horizontal magnetic field in the EEJ region or EEJ station, and in a non-EEJ station. Okay, so in this case, the EEJ station is Yap, some island in the Pacific, and in the Philippines is Davao. Okay, so both Yap and Davao have a geomagnetic latitude of less than 2 degrees. So si Davao, based on the IGRF model, Davao is at 0.42 degrees south geomagnetic latitude. Si Yap is about 1.66 degrees north geomagnetic latitude. So the off equator of Yap is Guam. The geomagnetic latitude is 6.11 north geomagnetic latitude. And in Davao, they use either Muntinlupa Station, that's 7.47 north, or 6.05 degrees north geomagnetic latitude, respectively. Okay, but mostly we look at the difference between Davao and Muntinlupa, and then Yap and Guam. Okay, this is the database that they used. So si Guam using Intermagnet, and then Supermag's network for the rest. Okay, so you can actually download it. Okay, again, so EEJ zone is yung equator. Then off equator is the blue one. Okay, that's the non-EEJ zone. Okay, so the delta H here is not H. Okay, unlike in this paper, so they just look at the difference between two H's. Okay, so this one, they did not subtract the two H's outright, but they subtract delta H's. Ano yung delta H's? So basically, that's the variation of the field, okay, from the midnight mean level. Okay, so yung midnight mean level, basically, that's your baseline. That's a majority of that baseline magnetic field is created by the Earth's dynamo to create its own magnetic field, yung dipole magnetic field natin. Okay? So yung H baseline is the average of the horizontal magnetic field around the local midnight. So that's 0 midnight during the day, 1 local time, 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. And then at the later that day, 22, so that's 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and midnight of the next day. Okay? So they average the 6 values, and that's their estimate of the horizontal baseline. Okay? So basically what they did is they just removed the influence of the magnetic field due to the Earth's dynamo majority. So ibababa siya. So for example here, if this is applied here, yung zero level nito will go down to zero. Yung midnight values ito will go down to zero. Okay, sana ba yan? Wait, sorry. Okay, and then H is the magnetic field. Okay, H is the magnetic field at the station, whether that's EEJ station or non-EEJ station. So that's your delta H. And they subtract the two. Okay, so that's another way to look at it. So these are the results. Okay, so this paper shows 3 years worth of data at specific dates, no? April to March, and then June, July. Okay, this is summer solstice. This is around late equinox, no? Late equinox. This is early solstice. Okay, so the black one is the EEJ measured in Davao relative to Muntinlupa. And then the red one is the EEJ at Yap relative to Guam. Okay? So these are the measurements. So as you will notice, generally, okay, the Davao EEJ is higher than the Yap EEJ. Most likely because, again, Yap is not actually completely along the equator. About 1.6 kasi, di ba, degrees north, deep latitude siya. Okay? So I expected, of course, the farther you are from the equator, the lower the EEJ measurement that you're going to have. Again, this is the EEJ measured in terms of the magnetic field created by the EEJ at the equator. Okay, but as you will notice, you can see that the diurnal variation. Okay, so again, this is this is around 120 to 130 degrees latitude, longitude. So the time zone is about about +8. Okay, so this pertains to daytime, and this is nighttime, and then this is midtime. Okay. Also, as you will notice, because the Davao is to the left of Yap, so that means in daytime kay Davao is ahead of the daytime of Yap is ahead of Davao. So that's why there's a shift. Okay, but again, yung midnight niya, you can see the midnight levels. So that's about 0. So we know that this is now caused by your EEJ. So positive magnetic field means the direction of the EEJ is eastward, but there will be times that there's a negative EEJ, negative magnetic field, which is what Kia mentioned earlier, that if the direction observed is reversed, so that means the EEJ the EEJ present is actually westward. So we call that the counter electrojet. Okay? We're not going to talk about counter electrojet right now, but you can read on them later on. So you have an idea bakit merong counter electrojet. But the counter electrojet is not always present. It depends on where you are located. Okay, there are longitudes at the equatorial electrojet. There are regions on Earth. There are longitudes on Earth that the counter electrojet is present is more prominent than the others. And it also depends on the season. And as I mentioned, it also depends on the solar activity levels, etc., which I mentioned earlier. Okay? So this is now your measurements. Questions po? Questions po?
By the way, sir, just to point out, like parang iba-iba yung intensity ng graphs, no? Like what does it imply? Kasi usually, like for example, they're in April and then towards July, like parang nag-iiba po siya ng
Uh,
intensity. Like,
yeah, as I mentioned earlier, no, because EEJ and SQ current are solar driven. Okay, so that means season will vary. Will have an the month of the year will have an influence. Kasi just like seasons, 'di ba? 'Di ba,
yeah,
yung winter, spring, summer, fall, we have different seasons because the tilt of the earth is different at different times of the year, 'di ba? So
yes,
that differences in season is actually because of the solar radiation coming to the earth. Yung intensity niya, yung watts per square meter niya that hits the earth at certain regions. So sometimes during summer, the northern hemisphere is pointing towards the sun. During winter, the northern hemisphere pointing out away from the sun. So the heating of the sun is different at different times of the year because equatorial electric jet and SQ current are driven by solar heating. Therefore, the magnitude of these currents is also dictated or is also influenced by different seasons.
okay. I got it.
Okay, just like what I show you earlier, no. Hmm. So let's go back to this one, no. Okay, so a different season, the SQ current, okay, the intensity of the SQ current, okay, is different. So high siya during equinox because the equatorial region is directly pointing at the sun. During solstice, okay, the equinox is, so for example, during summer solstice, summer season is a summer season. The SQ current is higher than the winter season because the equatorial region the equatorial region is pointing towards the sun, and the equator during winter season is pointing away from the sun. During equinox, sakto siya. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay. So remember, yung for example, this one is in this region. This measurement is actually from this region. Okay? So yung deep equator actually north of the geographic equator. Okay, kaya ganito siya. So if we're going to look at the other side where the deep equator is lower than the geographic equator, then you will have a different measurement. Okay, but the point is that because again, equatorial electric jet and the SQ current system is solar driven. So solar heating, it is driven by solar heating. So yung amount of heating niya sa Earth will have a say to the amount of current. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay? So ganun siya. Kaya so 'di ba April kanina 'di ba April medyo mataas and then si June, July mababa. Okay? So mataas dito sa May, March, May, kasi equinox siya. And then June, July, mas mababa siya compared to equinox. Okay? I hope I'm making sense, no?
Okay, sir.
Okay? So that's why yung measure kanina, okay, na-measure kanina is this one. So mataas during April, May, and then medyo mababa during July, June. Relatively. Of course, there are other influences. Okay, there are other influences, such as, regular geomagnetic activity, etc., etc. Okay? Questions pa po? Sige. At this point, let me just demonstrate, no? Number one, where to get the data. Yung kaninang pinakita ko kaninang, ito, specifically sa Supermag. And then, a simple calculation of equatorial electrojet from the magnetometer data. Okay, so let's have, going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, we can use, for simplicity, let's use Excel muna. Okay, but let me just demonstrate where to get your data. Wait lang ah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, medyo
You're back.
nawala ako kanina, no?
Opo. Naka-mute mic kayo.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay na po, sir.
Okay, sige. So let me just share my screen again. Okay, so this is Supermag website. Okay, so basically this have some, okay, but not all, okay, some magnetometer data that you can actually use. Okay, this is a database from different sources, different networks, no? So let me just go to your download data. So this is the page. Okay, of course, you have to read the rules of the road. So that means this rules of the road tells us ano yung mga data policy. Okay, because this data is coming from different databases. So that means different databases have um, different different principal investigators. They have different rules depende sa kanilang database. There are also rules regarding their use of their data. For example, if you use their station, you have to mention, you have to, let's say, you have to cite certain papers related to that station. You have to also know, or you have to offer co-authorship to the principal investigators, etc., etc. So you have to read this, no? But anyway, so let's say you have read that, okay? What you can do is, number one, you have to log in. Okay, you have to log in. Um, you have to register first, of course. Okay. So you can have large data downloads, but we're more concerned right now sa simple data downloads muna. So this is all the stations that is included, but not all dates have data for each station. Okay, so pag may red, so for example, no, let's say today, ano ba yung today? Sorry, ano ba? Yesterday. Yesterday is October 14. Okay, so October 14, 2024. So, no stations available. So, let's say last year. Okay lang. Last year muna. Last year na lang. 1 year ago. Okay, so yung makikita nyo, pag nagbago ka ng dates, nag-iiba yung mga red dots. Nakita nyo ba? So, let's say 2010. Going to click 2010, October 14, 2010, you will see nag-iba yung dots niya, di ba? Let me just increase. Lakyan natin yung... Okay, kita nyo ba? Okay, so you can actually go to... saan na ba yan? You can actually go to... saan na ba yan? Can go to large data downloads. Nasaan na ba yung ano? Hmm. Anyway, sige. So let's say, for example, teka. Meron ditong ano dati. Hmm, indices about ba dito? Wait lang ha. I need to kalimutan ko yung ano eh. Hmm, indices, no? We're not concerned right now. Indices, download data. What I'm looking for pala, what I'm looking for is the parang dito yung kanilang, do you call this? Sorry, nawala ko. Yung tinatawag na lang parang summary or data availability. Okay, so I'm not sure but wala yung data availability dito. Okay, anyway, sige. So let's try, no? Okay, so let's try to do kay October 14, 2020, 2010. Okay, so let's try that. So let's look at stations here sa Philippines. So zoom in lang natin yan. So they have Cagayan de Oro Station, and we have Davao Station, and we have Muntinlupa Station. So if you have set 14 October, then the duration is 1 day to. So 2359 is 1 day. So it will provide you data from October 14, 0 UT to October 14, 2359 UT. Okay? So, let's not subtract baseline muna para makita nyo ano nangyayari. No? So, do not remove any any baseline. Okay? Para makita natin yung changes. Okay? So, let's start with Davao. So, we can actually do multiple stations download, no? But I would suggest for start, sa isang station muna, let's say Davao. Okay, so naka-click na yung Davao, so that's naka-green na siya. If we're going to, ay pala, availability. Okay, so Davao. Search. And then naka-check na yung Davao. Okay? So naka-click na yan. So then, bubuta tayo sa baba. Again, October 14, 2010. 1 day lang muna tayo. And then, you can check this all. That's okay. And then, I would recommend for start, CSV. Of course, if you know how to handle NetCDF data, that's good. If you know, you can also download ASCII. But preferably ako right now, I'm going to look at CSV. Okay? And then enter security code R3V1. Then download magnetometer data. So you will notice here, pag nag-download ka ng magnetometer data, meron laging dalawang lumalabas na ida-download. Okay, yung rules of the road at saka yung actual data. Okay? So let's open rules of the road. Kita nyo ba? Yan. So ito ngayon yung rules of the road. So this is very important sa akin. So kada download nyo, makikita nyo siya. Pwede nyo naman siyang i-X later on or pwede nyo siyang hindi download kung alam nyo naman na siya. Okay, so let's go to your data. So let's save as, lagay ko muna siya sa desktop ko. Okay, so na-download na siya. Open desktop. So let me just open it. I will open in Excel file, Excel app. And then open it from here. Can you see my Excel?
Yes.
Okay, so desktop, select all files, open. Okay, let me just close some of my, okay. So this is now your data. Okay, this is now your data. So this is your date in ISO format. Okay, this is ISO format. So this is dates. Okay, this is dates and time. Extent is 60 seconds. This is a per minute data. Hour, minute, date, hour, minute, second, year, month, day. This is the station code, the geomagnetic longitude and latitude, the geographic longitude and geographic latitude. This is the geomagnetic latitude, etc. So this is MLT, magnetic local time, etc. Okay, so for now, what's important is the components. So ang gagamitin nating components ay this one. This one. Okay, this, and this. So ito yung north. This is east. North is DBN, east is DBE, and Z is vertical, DBZ. So you will notice sa Davao, you can see here that majority, okay, of your data or majority of your magnetic field has a northern component. Okay, sa northern component. Very little sa east kasi nga yung declination mo very low. And then you have relative lower Z component din. Okay? So, paano natin ngayon i-graph ito? Number one, sa Excel is let's reformat this UTC date. Gusto kong pag-iwanin kasi si date tsaka si time. Okay? So I will add another column here. And then I will select this column. Then click data. Okay. And then text to column. And then delimited. Ang pagitan ni date tsaka ni time ay si letter T. So, isa-set ko si delimiter as T para maghiwalay si date tsaka si time. Then finish. So, yan, maghiwalay na siya. So, this is dates. Let's verify kung date ang nabasa niya. Yan, date na yung format niya and this is time. Okay? Now, pero syempre, we can type this as UTC and then this is date. Okay? Next is, let's compute for the horizontal component. Insert. So let's call this, let's say DBH. Okay, so equals square root of the square of the north and the east component. So this is now your H. Okay, so you notice halos di nag-iba yung H tsaka N, no ba? Which is what we expect. And then we just copy it hanggang sa dulo. Of course, pwede nating shortcutin yan. Let's go copy this. Control C. Go to the left. Control down to go to the bottom of the data. Go back right. Control Shift up, and then paste. So ito na ngayon yung ating data. So ito ngayon yung ating H. Okay? So this is your H. And this is your time. Then insert. Just pakita lang natin yung data natin. No? So this is now our data. From 0 UT to 24 UT. So daytime, nighttime, ito yung midnight. Somewhere here ang midnight. Okay? Sige. Okay? So, delete muna natin ito. And dagdagan ngayon natin. Ngayon, let's compute for, dito na natin compute. Sige, okay. Now, let's try to compute for the baseline, H. So, ano yung mga kailangan natin? Kailangan natin, so, let me just select this cell and then view, freeze panes. Hindi tayo gagalaw sa UT. Okay? Pero pwede tayong gumalaw. Okay? So, pwede natin gawin. Simple lang muna. So, yung midnight natin, no? Midnight sa Philippines is anong UT? So, let's look at it now. Midnight UT. So, that's 60 local time, no? Tama ba ako? Ano yun? 0 UT in the Philippines. Ito. Okay. Midnight sa Manila is 4 p.m. UTC. Okay, di ba? Midnight sa Manila, 4 p.m. UTC. 4 p.m. So that's 16 UT. Okay, so that's 16 UT. And then 10 p.m. So this is 10 p.m., 11, 0, 1, and 2. At saka yung 20 for the next day. Okay, so let's start, no? Although dito kasi naka-UT tayo, so pwede yung 5 lang. So 10 p.m. hanggang 2 a.m. So this is 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So 14, 15, 14, 15, 16, 17. Sorry, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. UT. Okay? So hanapin lang natin muna dito. Okay, so let's start with 14. Okay, hopefully narinig nyo ako, no? So 14, ito siya. 14. Yan, I'm sorry. 14. Yan, 14. 15. 16. 17. Tama na ba? 14, 15, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And 18. So copy lang natin siya. Let's just open a new sheet, no? Then paste. Okay, so ito ngayon yung H. This is basically H at 22 local time. This is H at 23 local time. This is H at 24 local time or 0 local time. This is H at 101 local time. And then this is H at 02 local time. Okay, then we just take the average. of this. So this is now our data. So this is now our baseline. So let's just rename this baseline H. Okay. So now let's compute for the delta H. Okay. So basically this is just this minus this value. Then copy again, go to the left, control down, go to the right, control up, control V. Oh, sorry, mali tayo. Dapat to merong, hindi siya dapat gagalaw. Yan. Nilagyan ko ng dollar sign para di gumalaw. So again, copy and paste. Okay, so let's try to graph this, delta H, then insert. This is now. So kita nyo, pumunta na siya sa 0 level. So this is now, ano na lang to, this is the magnetic field caused by EEJ and SQ current. Wala na siya nung magnetic field ni Earth. Kasi 0 na siya. Okay? So this is Davao. This is Davao delta H. Although insert symbol delta H. Ayun na, Davao delta H. Okay, so let me just finish the chart. Add chart element, access title primary. This is UTC. Add chart element vertical. This is delta H in nano Tesla. Okay, so ito ngayon yung data natin. Okay, so let's repeat. Ang i-download naman natin ay imbis na si Davao, download natin si Muntinlupa. So pag nag-click tayo ng iba, you will notice nagbago si security code. So let's just re-enter the new security code. Then download the magnetometer data. You can actually download the file header din, no? Okay, so let's download the... Okay. Let's repeat again. SAQA. So download magnetometer data. Ito na. Muntinlupa. Ay, naka-check naman. There should be data. Okay, dapat meron. Okay, let's see. See more. Okay, ulitin natin, no? RGM7. Ayaw na. Can you hear me? May internet naman ako,
Yes
diba?
po.
Okay, let me just again refresh. Parang mali yata yung time data ko. Okay, log on October 14, 2010. Muntinlupa Station. Do not remove any baseline. Teka. Okay, so let me just Medyo zoom in sa ating station. Meron naman daw. May data naman daw. Ayun na, naka-check na siya dito. Kasi naka-net CDF. CH, ETZR. Tama ba ang aking October 14, 1 day? Kasi ito yung selected natin. October 14, 00 UT to 23:59 UT. 24 hours. Okay, sige. Di nagda-download. Weird. Di siya available. Dapat available kasi dapat present daw yung data eh. Mhm. Okay. So let's try. Di ko makita. Actually, meron kaninang ano eh. Dati, saan na ba yun? Ayun, inventory. Yon, let's go to inventory pala. Let's go to inventory yon. Ito yung hinahanap ko kanina, inventory. Eh, what? Eh, ba't ganun? Wait lang naliligaw na ako. By the way, no, may mga, kung gusto niyo mag-code, ito may Ideal client, may Python client, may MATLAB client, meron ding R. So if you want to look at the ano. Okay, sige. Station information. Saan na ba yan? Siguro dito. Ayun, data inventory. Yon. This is it. Ayan. So ito yung data inventory. Um, let's say, ito. Ito yung year, tapos ano yung may data na available. Okay, so let's try to go to, um, okay. Yan. Hopefully kita nyo, no? Okay, so let's go to station name na lang. Station name, Davao. Ito, Davao, A8. Tapos, available siya. Ito yung mga times na available siya. Okay, so let's say, marami siyang data. Dito sa database na to, I'm not saying di siya available ngayon, no? Actually, may available siya, pero kukunin sa ibang lugar, sa ibang database. But for this database, mostly available siya 2013 and 2015. Meron siyang konti sa 2010, nakachamba tayo, 96%. Tapos si Muntinlupa, supposedly meron siya eh. Pwede ko lang, ba't di ko ma-download yan eh. Muntinlupa, ito. Muntinlupa, di siya available masyado. So let's try 2015. Okay, lipat tayo 2015, no? Lipat tayo 2015. Yan, maganda 2015. Okay, so let's try to do 2015. Same date na lang. Download data, again, no? Download data. Data downloads 2015. Siguro naman meron na. So, simulan na natin si Muntinlupa. Okay, simulan natin si Muntinlupa. Do not subtract any baseline. CSV birds download data. Huh? Ayaw. Weird. Ba't ayaw? Lipat tayo ng ano? Lipat tayo ng ibang browser. Baka sa browser problema. Copy natin to. Let's go to here. Login tayo. Yan. So ito. Try natin ibang browser na to. Muntinlupa. Try natin 2010 ulit kanina. Baka sakaling gumana. Okay. CSV E3FQ. Ayun, ayun. It's about the browser. Okay, sige. Okay, so let's open this. Ayan, so this is Muntinlupa. Kasi ganun ulit gagawin natin, no? I will insert one. Okay, I inserted one column again para pag in-split ko to, may mapupuntahan si time. Kasi kung hindi natin ginawa, di tayo nagdagdag dito, matatabunan ni time itong si extent. Okay, so let's do this. Select data, text to column, delimited, next. Ang delimiter natin ay T, and then finish. Then na siya. And then we compute for this. Insert. Let's compute for square root of n and e. And this is dbh. Copy, then paste, and then okay, then freeze pane. Okay, para madali nating hanapin. Add tayo ng Hindi natin lalagay si baseline. Okay. Okay, so again, 17, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So hanapin natin si 14. Somewhere here si 14. Sakto. 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Copy, then paste, and let's take the average. Average, this 6 of this 5, ito na yun siya. Then let's add another. This is now delta H. So equals H minus delta H. Pero gawin nating fix. Then copy. And then paste. And then let's see what happens. So this will be UTC. Insert. View. Tanggalin natin si freeze panes. Ito na ngayon siya. Okay. So what do we do next? So basically, we get UTC of Muntinlupa. This is Muntinlupa. And then delta H of Muntinlupa. Let's go to Davao. Let's put let's make a new one. Sorry, sana. Copy. Paste. So dapat pag pinaste natin, values ang i-paste natin. Okay, so this is MUT delta H. So try natin ngayon Copy natin si UTC ni Davao. Tsaka Delta H Davao. Dito natin siya idikit. Bakit natin sinama si UTC? Para masigurado natin na parehas yung time na nakikita natin. So one way to check is kung 0 dito, kung parehas sila ng time, dapat sa dulo magkatapat pa din sila. So that means parallel silang dalawa in terms of time. Okay? So now, let's compute for EEJ. EEJ in nanotesla. Sorry. EJ in nanotesla. So, minus lang natin si Davao minus si Delta. Muntinlupa. Then copy. Paste. Let's see. CEJ, CUTC, then let's graph. So, ito na ngayon CEEJ. So, mayroong counter electrojet here. So, meron kang normal EEJ. So, pag dinikit natin si October 16, supposedly dapat dudugtong siya dito. So, this is now your EEJ. Okay, so let me just finish everything. Add chart. Axis is UTC. Then axis horizontal, vertical, this is EEJ in nanotesla. So this is now your EEJ. This is counter electrojet. Nag-reverse kasi siya. Okay, so usually daw, okay, so from what I read, yung counter electrojet, usually sa morning siya mapasok. Okay. So, bakit ganito yung time natin? Kasi nakaano siya. So, let me just gawin natin siyang dates, time. Yung, this is now time. Tapos, format ng time natin ay ito. Ayun na siya. Okay, so bahala na kayong pagandahin yung figure, but the point is, ito yung, then you can change the local time, the time to local time, etc. Okay po. Of course, it's a very crude way to do that, no? You can actually do this, let's say, by coding, but I just use Excel para lang makita niyo yung detail, ano yung gagawin, and then you can just translate the methodology of plotting to your favorite platform for coding. Okay po? Then you can compare different years at saka different months. Okay? And that will be your assignment. Okay, so for 2 weeks, okay, for 2 weeks, you will do um, comparison of EEJ at at Davao region at different solar activities during equinoxes and solstices. So during summer, as during winter solstice, March equinox, summer solstice, at saka September equinox. Okay, so yun yung assignment nyo at different years. Okay po?
So yung regarding dun sa years, like, does it need kung anong years lang yung may available na
Of course,
data?
syempre, kung anong may available, di yun lang yung ma-download nyo, di ba?
Yeah,
Di naman tayo makaka-download ng hindi available.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so for
I'm
example,
just,
so of course, nearest to those dates. So for example, date, let's say, Hindi available sa March 21, then you can go for the nearest one. Okay? Kung wala, ang nearest one natin is, let's say, within plus or minus 1 month. Pag wala, edi scratch na yung date na yun for that year. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Then read about Equator Electrojet. Um, yung paper na yung QR code na pinakita ko kanina, okay, is actually a very comprehensive discussion of the Equator Electrojet and SQ currents. So some of the materials that I provided are actually obtained from there, pati yung mga computation, etc. Pati yung calculations. So I recommend that you read through them as well, para mas maintindihan nyo. Then meron na rin dong discussion about equatorial counter electrojet. Okay po? I hope I'm making sense, and I really do hope na yung recording natin will be successful for tonight. Okay? Questions po, Aldrin and Alvin?
Which years yung kailangan namin ito?
As many as you can.
Alright.
Okay, then also, no, if you've chosen the month, no, you chosen the month and the year, if you can, um, get the sunspot number for that month or the F10.7 for that month. Okay? Kung sunspot number, that's okay. Okay, sunspot number is okay. Madaling kunin yung sunspot number for those specific months, no? Para lang may idea kayo. Okay? Then if you can know the KP index, that's better, but it's not required. Okay? You just want to, this is only an exercise of getting the data and then calculating for the EEJ in terms of the magnetic field for those specific dates, and para makita mo rin yung variations, no? Both sa season and the time and the year. So merong variations kasi yan. As I discussed, no? So makikita niyo yung variation with time, variation with the time of the day, variation with month or season. And then you're also you're going to see yung variation sa solar activity. Okay po? Questions po? Okay. Sige. Other concern, Aldrin? Kia, may tanong ka, Kia?
Uh, Next time na lang po, sir.
Okay, sige, sige. Okay, kung wala nang tanong, I think we can end the session today. Medyo napahaba tayo, although ganun talaga. But we will hopefully, no, if everything comes to again, no, comes to if everything falls into place, we will again meet on Saturday for the continuation of our lesson. Lesson number 3 na tayo. Okay? Sige. Okay, kung wala nang tanong, Aldrin and Alvin and Kia, thank you very much for joining me this evening, and I will see you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.